What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having an absolutely fantastic day. I know I am, and today I have a story time for you guys that I think you're gonna find very entertaining. Basically, one time my grandma punched a cop and got away with it, and yes, the story is about as complicated as you think it would be. Regardless, I figured you guys would definitely enjoy the video, so that's what we're gonna be talking about today. But before we get into it, be sure to press the like button, or no joke, no scam, you're gonna have bad luck for the next 80 billion years. So press the like button or the bad luck is on you. You don't want that bad juju, and without further ado, let's get into it.
It's not good. Nice rack in her ass Brazilian. Just turned 21, but my bank's a million. Swear I'm a little drunk, but it's a hell of a...
Alright guys, so I think we've all heard our grandparents talk about how much times have changed and how different things used to be. It's like the typical grandparent speech. In my Oma, that's German for grandma. I'm gonna probably call her Oma for the rest of the video, but that's for those of you that don't know that, not that it matters. Anyways, my Oma would always say how much things have changed since she was a kid, and I would always roll my eyes because it's just like the most stereotypical thing for old people to say. Back in my day, we used to be able to use children for labor, and everyone loved it. Like, it's just so typical, you know? That was until my Oma told me this story when I realized just how much things really have changed since ye olden days when Shakespeare was writing dinosaurs. Sidebar, dude, I really wish Shakespeare had written dinosaurs, because that would have made English class like way more entertaining. Romeo and Juliet blows. Romeo and Juliet with velociraptors, I might actually have paid attention. Regardless, one day I was just sitting in my Oma's kitchen minding my own business, and she just calmly asked me if I wanted to hear the story of the time she had punched a cop. And obviously this got my attention because my Oma definitely had some spunk to her, but I'm not gonna lie, I never expected Conor McGregoring the feds to be on her long list of things that she had done in her life. So when she says that, I basically start begging her to tell me the story, because your grandma out of nowhere just being like, hey, I punched a cop is not something you hear every day. So she sits down and she starts saying that one day back in the 60s, her and some friends decided that they were gonna go out drinking, as they did back in the day, because there was literally nothing else to do. Like, now you've got options. You can spend your Friday night doing a multitude of things, but back in the day, you couldn't just spend your Friday night binge watching Netflix and wishing you had friends. No, you had to actually go out and do stuff in order to have fun, leave your house, and yes, it probably was about as horrible as it sounds. Anyways, my Oma and a mix of her guy and girlfriends and her boyfriend at the time went out to a local bar that was like the popping hangout. Everybody went there. If you were a cool person in the town, you went to this bar. Now, my Oma really loved to tell stories, but when she's telling me this one, she's skipping some of the details. But basically, what she insinuates is that her and her friends are really having fun, and they're at a bar. So they're pretty hydrated at this point, and hydrated people never make the best decisions. It's what comes with the territory. Nobody is ever like, I'm 7 drinks in and now I make better choices. That is literally the antithesis of everything you've ever been told. And that's because it's true. I'm just being honest with you. I'm not trying to insult anyone or demean it or like sound uneducated. But yeah, when you're a little tipsy, you kind of become stupid. It's nothing personal, but we all know that. That's why you can't drive while you're drunk. So regardless, she doesn't remember the details too well, but somehow her group and another group end up in an argument. Essentially, at the time, they had all thought that someone from this other group had like grabbed one of the girls in their group, and so they were getting ready to like start a fight over it. And after the fact, it came out that that wasn't the case, but whatever, they really did think at the time that that was the case. And she looks at me as she's telling me the story, and she's like, honestly, everybody was so hydrated at that point, it could have been literally anything that could have caused a fight, like, but that's just how it is when people get like that. However, she did think that they were in this argument for a good cause at the time. It wasn't like they thought they were just being the jerks at the bar causing a fight for no reason. But regardless, the two groups are now arguing in the middle of the bar, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't own a bar. It's not something that I have, but I feel like if I was a bar owner, seeing two groups start to argue really has to be like, oh no, please don't do this. Yeah, bar fights in movies look really cool, but nobody ever talks about the poor guy who has to replace all the glasses and fix all the damage and then convince people to come back to the bar after there was just like a giant fight there. They never show the after, always just the really fun during, and while I appreciate bar fights during movies, that poor guy could not have been hyped. So somehow, I don't get the details, but these groups get into an all-out bar fight. Like, my Oma said that people were smashing bottles and hitting each other. It was one of those pool and bar hybrid places, like a pool hall that you could also drink at. So all this chaos is going on, people smacking each other with bottles, punching each other, like hitting each other with broken glass. It's just chaos. And all the girls from the other group are like starting to fight the girls from their group. So my Oma realizes that it's about to get crazy, and she starts like running towards the pool side of the bar to grab a pool cue to fight with as a weapon. She really was just trying to pull a Donatello from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't know who told her that that was legit. No martial arts experience, just was gonna use the pool cue as a weapon. Anyways, my Oma gets her hand on this pool cue and she turns around, and like one of the girls from the other group is approaching her, and she has a knife in her hand. And it wasn't like she had one over, it was like she grabbed one from the bar that was used for cutting limes and lemons and whatnot, and she's just like walking towards my Oma. Now, like I said, my Oma has some spunk, but she's maybe, and I do a strong maybe, like 5'2" on a good day. She was this tiny little thing. She was never very big. So I'm just imagining my tiny little grandma in a bar fight using a pool cue as a weapon as someone's approaching her with a knife, dude. Like, it just did not fit the image I had in my head of my poor little Oma, who I imagined was always just this little defenseless old lady who needed help crossing the street. Regardless, I guess my tiny Oma decided that this lady had to go, which, to be fair, she did have a knife. Like, I don't know. I feel like at that point, you're basically signing up for conflict. If you just start walking towards somebody with a knife and they start hitting you, like, duh, what did you think you were signing up for? This was very obviously where this stuff was going to end up. So my Oma at that point in her hydrated state just lifts the pool cue above her head like Conan the Barbarian, gonna give a death blow, you know, just straight up above her head, just right above it. And she just swings down as hard as she could, like straight down. Now this should have been pretty easy to dodge since it was literally just a swing straight down, and that's exactly what the girl with the knife who was coming at her tried to do. But keep in mind, everybody had been drinking, so nobody's really that in control of their bodies. So the girl is like diving out of the way of this pool cue that's coming down from my grandma, and she does get out of the way of getting smacked on the head, which honestly is probably a W considering how fast my grandma was swinging this. But sure enough, the stick smashes into her wrist instead of her head, and because of my Oma's hydrated state and just the amount of strength she put behind the swing, I guess it like broke her wrist. So the girl screams and she drops the knife, and now at this point the girl has had enough and she just like gets out of the way of my grandma. And that's when my Oma starts looking around at the chaos going on in the bar. Obviously everybody's still fighting, everybody's still hitting each other, and through all the chaos she's looking for her boyfriend, and she sees that her boyfriend is getting pinned against the wall by a guy in a black jacket with no hat on. Now I know you're wondering why I mentioned the hat thing. I promise it'll be important in a second, but regardless, she sees her at the time boyfriend pinned against the wall by this random dude in a black jacket, and because the lady like she just hit got out of the way and my Oma's riding this adrenaline high and she's tipsy, she just starts running to help him. Like I said, at this point everyone has been helping, or been drinking, sorry. So my Oma says that she's running across the bar, but she's probably just like stumbling her way across. But anyways, she gets across the bar and just throws herself onto the back of the guy who's attacking her boyfriend, dude. She lands on this guy's back, and obviously it catches him off guard because who expects a flying pool stick ninja to be landing on their back in the middle of a bar fight? So he like lets go of her boyfriend and kind of stumbles back to try to get whatever's on his back off of it. And that's right, my tiny little 5'2" grandma had just run across the bar and launched herself on whoever was on her boyfriend. My phone interrupted me, sorry. So now my Oma's on this guy's back. She's on this guy's back and she really can't see his face because she attacked him like a flying squirrel, dude. But now that her boyfriend can see what's going on and he just like looks up and sees his girlfriend on this dude's back, he starts screaming like, stop, stop, get off, get off. And my Oma thinks that he's just telling her to get off and to like stop because he's trying to protect her. So she's like, oh, I'm gonna show him how capable I am. And she takes one hand off of the guy whose back she's on and she like hits him in the face a couple times. And at that point her boyfriend is still yelling to stop and is now running over to her, and she's confused, dude. And her boyfriend runs over and like pulls my grandma off of this person and starts apologizing to the guy that she was just hitting. And my Oma is all pissed off. She's like, hold up, I just ran across here to defend you from this guy and now you're gonna apologize. So she starts yelling insults at the guy she was just hitting. And her boyfriend is like, calm down, calm down. And she has her back to the guy she was just on at this point. Like her boyfriend has her turned back. And she's yelling insults and whatnot. And her boyfriend's like, shut up. And my Oma is like, don't tell me to shut up. And her boyfriend just spun her around at that point so she could see what's going on. And when she spins around, instead of just seeing some like angry looking dude, she realizes that the person whose back she was on that she had just punched in the face a couple times wasn't just like a random guy in the bar fight. No, it was a cop. My Oma, in her hydrated state, had just seen someone in a black jacket on her boyfriend. And because she was tipsy, she just assumed it was like a random person. Because at the time in the city they were in, all the cops wore this very specific type of hat. And so since the guy that was like attacking her boyfriend didn't have a hat on, she just assumed it was a stranger. Like it didn't even cross her mind that it was a cop. Obviously he had like a badge on his jacket and patches and whatnot, but she was looking at it from across the room, and because she's tipsy, she just didn't even put two and two together. So she went to defend her boyfriend, accidentally had hit on a cop, and so she's sitting here realizing she had literally just assaulted a bar officer in a police fight, or insulted a police officer in a bar fight. My goodness, reverse Uno card that one. And at that point, the cop is furious, and probably rightfully so, dude, and her boyfriend is like apologizing to the cop, and he's having none of it, and he drags them both outside of the bar, and he just kind of starts laying into them, trying to question them on what's going on. And inside the bar is still chaos. Like everyone else is still fighting. There's 3 other cops in there trying to break it up, and her boyfriend starts explaining what's going on first, and then obviously it's my Oma's turn, and she just is like telling him the truth. But as she's talking to the cop, my Oma was born and raised in Germany, and she had an accent whenever she would speak English. And when she's at the part where like the girl has the knife out and is approaching her, the cop interrupts her in the middle of her story and is like, are you from Germany? And my Oma, because she's tipsy, isn't thinking about why he's asking, and she's like, yeah, of course. Obviously, you know, I have an accent. And so she goes to keep telling her story, and she explains a little bit more to the point where she like swung the pool cue, and the cop stops and he says, okay, well, what part are you from? And somehow, by the grace of whatever is in charge of the universe, dude, the reason he had been asking is because his mom was from Germany and just so happened to be from the town that my Oma was from. So like, by the grace of God, out of every cop she could accidentally hit in the face, it's the guy who's like, oh my gosh, your accent reminds me of my mommy because y'all are from the same place in Germany. So the cop is basically like, he doesn't say that he likes her at that point, but obviously the fact that him and his mom have something, or my Oma and his mom have something in common, makes him like her more. So he tells her to keep going, and she just keeps explaining the story, and she saw someone on her boyfriend and just wanted to defend him, and since he didn't have his hat on, she didn't realize he was a cop. Now, I'm explaining this relatively clearly. I'm sure it's a little bit confusing, but you gotta remember, I'm not drunk explaining this. Like, at that point, they're all slurring their words and whatnot, and the cop at this point is probably really confused, and he just looked at my Oma and said, did you really not know that I was a cop? And my Oma genuinely didn't know. Like, when she was telling me the story, she didn't know, and she had no reason to lie to me and be like, oh, I didn't know it was a cop. If she knew and just wanted to get away with it, she probably would have told me like 70 years after all of this had happened, right? But nope, she genuinely didn't know. So she tells the cop, no, I didn't know you were a cop. And he's just sitting there kind of dumbfounded, because when he had brought them out of the bar, I'm sure that he thought that like this dude was a criminal and the girlfriend was trying to defend him. But nope, sure enough, it's just some crazy German lady who was willing to throw herself onto the back of whoever was fighting her boyfriend. She literally did not care who it was whatsoever. Whoever it was, they were catching the hands, bro. That's just what was going down. The next question the cop asked, though, is something along the lines of like, so you're just willing to launch yourself onto whoever was fighting your boyfriend? And my Oma says yes, and the cop at that point does the whole like, you do realize I could arrest you right now for hitting an officer. And my Oma at that point is hearing the spiel from this dude and was really nervous, but like like, for some reason, instead of being nervous and scared, it made her really confident. And so she looks at the cop and she says, "I didn't know you were a cop, and I wouldn't have done it if I'd known. Like, obviously, I wouldn't have launched myself onto your back if I knew that you were an officer. But if this is the case and you're about to arrest me, I should have hit you harder so I could have at least gotten away with it, dude." And she says that, and instead of the cop getting angrier and like deciding to arrest her, he just starts laughing. He cannot believe that this lady just openly admitted that she should have hit him harder so he could have gotten away with it. Like, out of everything, no apologies, no "I regret being here." My Oma's one regret was like, yeah, I shouldn't have done it, but hey, now in retrospect, I should have hit you harder. That's just the type of lady she was, bro. No playing games. So the cop is giggling at this point, and they're pretty sure that they're probably gonna get away with it. I feel like once you make somebody start laughing, they're basically on your side. Alright guys, I'm gonna interrupt the video for a second. On screen right now is a Roblox gift card. I actually give away a gift card every single day as a way to say thank you to everybody who's subscribed with notifications on. So if you aren't already, be sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications. It's literally free, and you can always unsub if you don't like the content. I literally give away money every day, so you got nothing to lose. But yeah, anyways, big thank you to everybody who is subscribed with notifications on. Y'all make this channel possible, and I appreciate it a bunch, and let's get back to the video. Like I said, the cop is laughing now, and my Oma is super confused, not knowing if she's about to go to jail or whatnot. And the cop looks at her and her boyfriend and tells them that she could hit pretty damn hard, and that her boyfriend better hang on to a woman that was willing to literally launch herself into a fight for him, which is definitely way different than it would have gone down if this had happened now, dude. Like, let's be realistic. If you even had anything near this situation happening now, the cop would not be laughing. He wouldn't be like, "Oh, hang on to this one, she hits hard." Like, dang, things definitely changed. And then the cop looks at him and he's like, "Hey, get out of here before all the other cops come out of here, because they're pissed off. Your friends have been causing a mess. They're still in there trying to break up the fight," and the fight was still going on. And he's like, "Look, they're pissed, they're charging everybody, but I'm not gonna say anything if y'all just get out of here." So my Oma and her boyfriend really didn't need to be told twice, because like, when a cop's gonna let you get away with punching him, it's way better to just take the chance to leave and not ask too many questions. And so that's exactly what they did, dude. They get out of there and just never went back to the bar. Honestly, my Oma is just insanely lucky that she happened to bump into a cop whose mom was from the exact same small city as her and found her amusing. Regardless, my Oma and her boyfriend ended up walking like a block up the road and called a cab to take them home, and they got home safe, but the rest of their little gang fighting, bar fighting crew was not as lucky as them. You know, they happened to get the cop who was ready to be entertained for the night and was looking at everything as a joke, but I guess the rest of their friends who were in the middle of the bar fight were not so lucky when it came to who was arresting them. Some of her friends had gotten cited for trespassing, and 2 of them actually got arrested for drunken disorderly conduct, which, you know, I'm pretty sure it includes a bar fight. I would consider that disorderly, maybe just a smidgen of disorder. The only reason that nobody actually got charged with assault was that everyone was fighting. Like, both groups were fighting. It's not like any of them were innocent, so if anyone would have pressed charges, then like everybody would have gotten screwed, especially because everybody was drunk. It's not like any of them could actually prove they weren't the person to start it. So other than that, nobody got pressed with like super serious charges, but they did get processed and arrested, and 2 of them did get charged with a crime that appeared on their permanent record. And apparently it also became the talk of the town for like a week because of the chaos it caused. Because, you know, a massive brawl in a bar with like a tiny lady using a pool cue as a weapon to just start ninjutsuing everybody definitely is entertaining, and I can't complain that everybody was talking about it. But yeah, that's gonna do it for the video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. I know it's not the normal type of story, but when your innocent little Oma at one point punched a cop and got away with it, it's just something that I feel like had to be shared on the internet. How could I not, bro? This is literally right up my alley. She really was like the greatest person ever, dude. An absolutely incredible woman. 10 out of 10. And she inspired this channel quite a bit, dude. The way she would tell stories had a massive impact on how I do it too. Low-key, the past 2 days videos have been pretty long in my opinion, so if you feel like I deserve you pressing that like button, please go ahead and press it. I'm really on my grind, and y'all pressing the like button does help me hit recommended, and it just shows that you guys appreciate it. I've been trying to make the longer videos because I know it's something you guys enjoy. Go ahead and comment the word Coke down below as well if you want to help me out with the algorithm, if you don't mind. And yeah, if you want more content as well, I do run a podcast called The Scuffed Cast with the YouTubers Dark Dom and Bumpkin. I'll put a link to that in the description. Feel feel free to go check it out. We have like 25 episodes, I'm not gonna lie, and they're all pretty long, so if you want some more stuff to listen to, go for it. Other than that, a link to the intro song can also be found in the description down below, and if you're in the mood for merch, I released the Karen Christmas sweater earlier this week, but along with that, we have the haha merch and the OG Sub Club merch as well, so a link to that can also be found in the description. Go check that out if you can. Follow me on Instagram at Scrubby, follow me on Twitter at Scrubby_69, and the TikTok is at Scrubby Stories. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. It's all very, very appreciated. I hope y'all have an absolutely incredible day. You guys know the advice. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I will see you guys all tomorrow with another video. I'm out. Peace.